Michael Kast. This is Culture Confluence, where art and culture meet. In the Arts North podcast studio today, I have an award-winning spoken word artist, Meg Peters. So I have with me today somebody I like to call a friend. We don't always see each other too often. We keep in touch on Instagram on occasion. And I noticed a post that Meg Peters had posted on Instagram with this big trophy. And the trophy was a best overall performance at the dramatic... Oh, wait. You tell me, Meg.
The Speech Arts and Drama Festival.
All right. I get them backwards. So so tell me about this festival. I never knew. I've been living here like 20 years. I've been involved in the theater. We first met in the theater when you were 12?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
and then, but I never knew this thing. And I'm so grateful to see that you're like still hooked into the theater. But tell me about the festival, and tell me a little bit about the society or the group that's involved with the festival. I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, so the Prince George Speech Arts and Drama Festival is one of the biggest in BC, actually. We just had our 39th festival, which is really awesome. So it's a chance for young performers to perform in front of an audience, doing, dramatic scenes and Shakespeare, but also selections of poetry and prose. So it's a really unique opportunity. And it's big in Prince George, but I guess only for the people who really know about it. But yeah, we're a member of Performing Arts BC, so we get to send competitors down to provincials every year to compete.
Do you get to go to provincials?
Not this year, unfortunately. I didn't qualify. I only decided to do the festival again this year in March, so I didn't have enough time to prepare a whole provincial program. But I have gone quite a few years. So
what do you mean by develop a provincial program? What do they? So first of all, okay, let's take one step back and say there's the festival, and what do you need to do? So you said Shakespeare. So what did you choose to do for the festival that rocketed you into like stardom here?
Well, this year I did a spoken word poem by Shane Khoisan, who's a Canadian poet. He's fabulous. And then I did a lyric poem and a dramatic scene solo. So I was the oldest one in the festival. But my pieces all got, they were the top marks in the festival. So
well, that's why you got best overall performance. So what was your dramatic piece?
It was from a play called Dentity Crisis. I was playing a fairly insane young woman, as she's described. She's remembering an experience from her childhood. It was a production of Peter Pan that was a bit traumatic. It ends with the actress who was playing Peter Pan telling them that Tinkerbell died because they didn't clap hard enough to save her and show that they did believe in fairies. So
that's a bit
it was a lot of fun.
So how and so there's a society, and then how do you need to audition to become a member of the society? Can you volunteer? Can you just join? Is there membership? Like what is this society all about? Yeah,
so the Speech Arts Society is about promoting speech arts in the community here. We are always looking for volunteers to help us run festival and everything. To be a member, I think it's like a $5 donation, and you have to sign like a paper that says you're a member. But it's all just like working together. It's mostly all for the kids. We're trying to broaden the horizons and include more of like adult performers and everything, and for stuff like stand-up comedy and for storytelling and everything, because there's a huge area for that, and we really want to include more people.
So when you say speech arts, can you define that? Like, can you give us sort of a broad definition of what that would what that would be?
Yeah, so the speech arts piece is more of, I like to think of it as the more technical trails into acting. So it teaches you how to, enunciate clearly, how to project your voice, and how to be on stage. So, you're not fiddling or moving your legs around or anything. But yeah, the speech arts aspect, it also includes a lot of literature. So in, speech arts and drama classes, you study poetry and prose, and, dramatic stuff from, Shakespeare and before Shakespeare right up until now. So it's really, I'm an English major at the university right now, and it's helped me so much for all of my English classes because I've learned so much about, Victorian poetry through speech arts, because there's a lot of, for the historical stuff, it's affected the art a lot. And so it's good to see that.
So, okay, now this is just going to, because I was going to get to the question a little bit later, but about staying in theater or drama and that sort of thing. So as an English major, are you planning on getting your PhD in English, or are you looking at it as a like what for writing, or where are you taking that, if you don't mind me, or do you even know?
Oh, well, I mean,
or what's your plan?
It's there's never a solid plan. But I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'd really like to be an English and drama teacher. So yeah, I'm looking to get my bachelor's in English, but also doing some theater as well. I'm transferring to the University of Victoria in the fall. So I'm already looking at some of their theater programs and classes and clubs and everything, just to stay involved and to, continue with my art. Yeah.
Are you anxious around that?
A little bit, but I know that it'll be wonderful. And I'm really looking forward to, the community down there, because I love Prince George, but I've been here my whole life, and so I'm looking for something a little bit new. So,
we first met at Theatre Northwest. You had a part in A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
And that was my return to technical theater as assistant and apprentice stage manager, and it was pretty traumatic. I loved the show. I loved everything, but it was a challenging show. That was a challenging show, and but we had fun.
Yeah.
Right? We had fun. So did the society, now what's the formal name of the society here in Prince George?
I think just the Prince George Speech Arts and Drama Festival Society.
Okay.
Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. So did they encourage you or do they work with Theatre Northwest to get involved, or to have young people? Because I don't know, was Alicia and
Claire, yeah.
Claire, were they members as well? Are they still members?
Yeah, Alicia and Claire haven't done speech arts for a few years, I think. But they grew up in the festival as well, so that's how I've known them. Yeah, a lot of the kids who have done the Theatre Northwest productions have had some experience in speech arts first. So I found out I got an audition for Christmas Carol because I was doing the summer camp program, the Shakespeare one, the youth Shakespeare. And so I was there, and Jack Grinhouse was also there, and he was like, "Hey, so we're looking for people to audition for Christmas Carol." And I was very interested. So
I have to say one thing about Jack Grinhouse. he was the artistic director for Theatre Northwest for, I think, 3 years before his lovely muse Lauren had to go back to Toronto and for some health reasons, and they unfortunately had to leave. Very open to having local people get involved in the theater, and I still keep in touch with John Riley and some of the people at the theater. And I see that Melissa Glover, do you know Melissa?
Oh, yes, yes. I've known Melissa for a really long time.
She is still involved, and they have what's the word I'm looking for? When not a sponsorship. What's it called when you get a
Scholarship?
scholarship? So yeah, thank you. They have a scholarship for now. They have a resident playwright is on the scholarship. I was supposed to do a podcast with him, but it got all mixed up. Like you say, plans, right? We can if you want to make the universe laugh, just tell it your plans, right?
Yep.
So you're going to be leaving in the fall. So that answers my question about whether or not you're going to do any more Theatre Northwest productions.
Yeah.
But I can see you getting involved. Like you said, you've already checked out the dramatic arts clubs and the theater scene down in Victoria.
Yeah. I would always love to come back and work at Theatre Northwest again, just because it's where I got my first introduction to theater and really fell in love with it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to joining some of the clubs there and even doing like less performing and behind the scenes stuff as well, because I found out that I really enjoy stage managing and just helping productions run. So I'm not totally sure. Universe has different plans, but I'll be there around.
Do they have a technical theater program at UVic?
Yes, they do. They have their theater program's pretty interesting because in the first year you do everything. So you do like acting and you do behind the scenes stuff and costuming and lighting, all sorts of things. So you get to know like all the different parts of the theater. So I'm hoping to do a few classes and as much as I can do down there. It's looking more and more like I might double major in English and theater.
But then I have to ask, so you're an English major here at UNBC. Why transfer?
I wanted to stay in Prince George for my first year of post-secondary, just so I could kind of get my head around post-secondary. And with the pandemic and stuff, I didn't really feel like leaving right away.
Damn pandemic.
Yes. But I've always, I went to Victoria for provincials for speech arts, actually, 4 years ago, I think. And I really fell in love with the city.
It's a beautiful city. My goodness. Yeah.
Gorgeous. And I didn't really want to be in Vancouver because, I love Victoria a lot more. And it just seemed like the right place to go. And yeah.
I think Victoria is like a cooler version of, or maybe a younger, more hip version of Vancouver. I don't know.
Yeah, it's more
laid back. It just seemed laid back. There you go. Yeah. And then you're on the island, so there's lots to explore there, right? That's fantastic. They had a job position for down there, but I could not convince my lovely muse to go with me. She has to finish some schooling too. Anyways, so what drew you to the I love technical theater. I found out though, after all this stuff that I did for Theatre Northwest, I'm probably not cut out to be a stage manager. But more of like a, backstage, a showrunner, maybe, lighting, sound, that sort of thing. Maybe not a stage manager, not so much. But the amazing thing is, stage managers, 70 to 80% of stage managers are female. And that's why. Why do you think that is? I don't know. Organizational skills?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah. I'm a very organized person. And so, I got to stage manage the Cedars production of It's a Wonderful Life this past year.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun writing down, all of the cues, who goes where at what time, and, where costume changes are, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just being, the backbone of keeping all of that in place. It was really enjoyable. And it was a different kind of stress than being on stage, because when you're on stage, you're worried about your performance. And when you're off stage, it's, that pressure's off you and you're just, you're in charge of keeping track of things. So,
But as stage manager, you're like, you have to be on
yeah.
the whole show. The whole show. If you miss a cue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It was really, yeah. It felt almost like I knew the director and we knew the show like inside and out.
Who was the director?
Carol Joy Green.
Carol Joy Green.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's the drama teacher at Cedars, and I also work with her and teach speech arts. So, but yeah, it was so cool to like know a show that well.
Did you call the show, or did you call the cues and call the lighting cues and?
I wasn't in charge of that once. I ended up running the cameras because we had to live stream it, and so.
Because of pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was up in the booth and had to figure out all of like the camera cues and everything and where they changed and what cameras we were changing to, which was a big thing that I had to learn, but a very useful skill, I think.
OBS. Was the studio did you use OBS Studio for your live streaming?
I think so.
Yeah,
It sounds familiar.
cool.
Yeah.
So you get to change. It's it's like having a TV studio at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was super cool.
I totally forgot what I was going to ask you, but that's okay. When you prepare for Shakespeare a little bit later, but when you prepare for the festival, how long does it take you to find a piece that you really want to, that really like grabs you, that you really want to do? Sort of like, I guess it's the same thing as an audition piece, right?
Yeah. I'm always on the hunt for new pieces that I would like love and enjoy to perform. Because I do, I love reading poetry and I have all of these books of monologues and stuff. And I love watching plays as well. So whenever I'm, looking through all of those different types of media, I'm always on the lookout for something that sticks out to me and something that I think that I will connect with as I perform. So it's hard to say how long it takes me to find a piece. I do have, some places where I always seem to fall back. One of them is Shane Koizan, because his poetry is just phenomenal. I saw him in poetry concert in a show, something. I watched him perform a few years ago, and it was mesmerizing. And so his work is so wonderful. I think you can find it on, Spotify and Apple Music. He has some of his stuff uploaded as well as on YouTube.
So what you can do for me is send me a link to that. I'll include it in the description of the podcast here, so other people can check it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have any of your spoken word things recorded at all, or do you share them if you do have them recorded?
I do have. I've had to record a few for speech arts, like the last 2 years, because we didn't have a live festival. Personally, I hate watching recordings of myself, so I don't have them posted anywhere because I don't want anyone else to see them as well.
No. I just want to perform live in front of people, but good heavens forbid anybody watch me.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that funny? I think most creative people, artists, or anybody in the theater or musicians why do we have this anxiety around we want everybody to see what we're doing, but we don't want them to see what we're doing?
Yeah, I think artists are very self-conscious and critical of their own work. And I prefer live performances because you have a chance to connect with the audience. Like you can kind of feel how they're feeling if they're, picking up what you're putting down. And you just don't have that opportunity as much online. And you can look back at yourself and be like, I said that line wrong. My hair looks funny there. What was,
I'm thinking to myself, I think so you teach speech art at Cedar.
Shine Speech Arts and Drama.
Shine Speech.
Yes.
So I wonder how that would equate to teaching people how to speak on podcasts.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I've
Okay, we'll have to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about, see if I can incorporate your set of skills in a podcast workshop. Mm-hmm. Would that? Oh,
that would be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll make note of that.
Okay.
We'll put that aside. We only have a few months to think about that because are you going to be coming back or you don't know, summer? It's hard to say, right?
Yeah. It's up in the air, and that's okay.
Well, you're pretty family oriented, right?
Yeah.
Because I know, your mom was at a lot of the rehearsals, and she was one of the chaperone, I think was the correct term.
Yeah.
Really involved in your dramatic arts stuff, which it's fantastic to see that parents can be supportive of young people that want to get involved in the theater, especially the theater, because usually it's like, oh my God, you're not going to make a living in the theater, you're not going to make a living as an artist, you're not going to, right? But to see parents really encourage that. My parents, thank goodness, they were the same way. We don't care what you do as long as you have fun and you're good and you're happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She's so supportive. It's funny actually. She keeps saying to me, she's like, "Are you sure you want to do English and not just theater, not just switch over completely?" And so she's pushing me towards the arts, which is I think I need. So
it can be frightening. It can be frightening because the arts are such an unpredictable thing.
Yeah.
It's either chicken or feathers, right? I have a friend who, Vanessa, and Vanessa's a musician, incredibly talented musician. She'll come and play here once in a while. Who I don't know now if she got her master's. I'll have to check in Victorian literature.
Oh.
And you said Victorian, you said, oh, you like Victorian.
Yeah.
What is it about Victorian literature that attracts people? Like, is it the romanticism? Is it... Because to me, some Victorian literature can be pretty,
a lot of it is pretty
heavy.
dark. Yeah, pretty heavy because, turn of the century and things, everyone was kind of, scared of what the future was holding after the romantic period was everyone was kind of fighting back about industrialization and stuff, but by the Victorian era it was in full swing and it really reflected the art always reflects the time, so there was a lot of anxiety about how the future is gonna look just with everything was changing so rapidly, and I think that's it's pretty accessible and pretty easy to understand, especially, when we've, coming out of a pandemic and, our world is changing so fast. They probably look at us and say, we're good. You guys just deal with whatever it is you got going there, right? Yeah. So, and I'm going to ask, I asked this, I worked with a young woman from Czechoslovakia. She's since gone back to the Czech Republic. Not Czechoslovakia, sorry, Pavla, the Czech Republic. And so I asked about the future. So I like to ask young people about because I'm getting older. What do you have hope? Yeah, I feel like you always have to have hope and everything, and it's so often, you look at the news and you look at, well, not really the newspapers anymore, but, you see all these things on social media and there's bad news everywhere. And it's really easy to get sucked up into that because the bad news always overrides the good news. But
it sells, man.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to keep looking for the good things. And I find... most of the time, I can feel really down about the world and stuff. But when I'm, doing things I love and when I'm hanging out with people I love, it doesn't matter so much where the world's headed, and obviously we should, be trying to save our world. But, there's no sense in, stressing yourself into oblivion when, there's still things around that you love that you can connect to. This is just so important to find those things and to hold on to them dearly. And, so theater and my friends and my family give me hope for the future.
Well, you know what? That gives me hope. I look back and say, and I never thought I'd say this, is like I always say, oh, the 80s were such a simpler time, right? Because I was your age in 80. Are you 19?
I'm 19,
19? Yeah. So yeah, that was 80 for me. That would have been 1983. So it was like a weird time then, and and I think to myself now, it's like even it's even more weird. But at the same time, I'm like, every generation, I think, there's defining moments in how we step up, right? And if we have hope, like you were saying, hold on to those things that are important, without putting on like the rose-colored glasses, and still have a sort of a pragmatic view of things. And so when I hear young people say, and I always used to be, oh God, these young people, they have no idea what's going on, just like an old guy. I have hope too, right? Like when I hear you and Pavla and other young people say that they have hope, then I think, okay, yeah, we may have screwed it up. We may have screwed up theirs, but I don't think it's beyond hope.
No, not at all.
So what is your approach to theater? Like when you, I guess approach would not be, I'll skip that question, but I want to talk about like how much do you like Shakespeare?
Yes, I do. It's I love Shakespeare.
What's your favorite?
My favorite comedy is Twelfth Night.
Yeah.
And my favorite tragedy is it's hard to pick.
There's so many.
I know. There's they all die. It's
yeah, everybody they die and then yeah.
Yeah. Hamlet's probably my favorite tragedy.
Is it?
Yeah. Yes.
Hamlet. I remember. So we have a mutual friend, Roy. And Roy played. He played Fezziwig.
Yep.
In A Christmas Carol, he played. And who else did he played? The caterpillar. He played an amazing caterpillar.
Yes.
in Alice in Wonderland. And I love that. We were reminiscing a little bit before we started recording about that. That's probably one of my favorite. I love the cast. There was some shenanigans that went on, but I thought. But Roy. So where was I? Oh yeah, I would always say to Roy, because we would always meet. We've done a few productions, and I would say to Roy, I use that old line from, I think is it Henry V? No, Henry or Richard III. Once more into the breach,
my friends.
Yeah,
once more.
Once more. Hamlet. Why Hamlet?
Oh, I find it very poetic and profound. A lot of it. The story's awful. Like it's so depressing.
Oh, murder and mayhem and other things.
Yeah. But I think I really enjoy the character of Hamlet because he's kind of ridiculous, and I totally think he's playing up his madness and everything. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of beauty in some of the speeches in there and truth and stuff. And
Can I say the name of that Scottish play? Yes, I can.
Macbeth.
We're not in a theater, so yes. Macbeth, my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It was the first show that I'd done as a stage manager.
Oh, okay.
So that was like intense. But the same thing. And that's where my love of technical theater came from, because I was like, I get to see the whole thing from start to finish, and then I get to watch it every night.
Yeah.
And watch it even throughout the run of a show, it develops, right? And characters get a little stronger, and they get, and I feel this empathy for Macbeth, mostly because my relationships in the past have been so much like his, right? Right, with Lady Macbeth, right? Yeah. So I hope that there's a thing for you, some Shakespeare in at the U of Vic.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to be, taking some trips to Vancouver for Bard on the Beach. Watching, professional Shakespeare. It's so wonderful.
I was hoping to get to Stratford. I wanted to watch. I know Roy had done some stuff there, and I was hoping to get down there, and some other people. And yeah, I miss the theater. I haven't done much in the last few years. Probably, well, the last thing I did was Alice in Wonderland. I did help hang lights and that sort of thing. But yeah, Alice in Wonderland was the last thing as far as theater goes. Now I'm involved in television. So, but we will have to talk about seeing if I do another podcast workshop, and I can, I think this would be a good thing. How people can because I'm looking at the levels here, and I'm seeing that your levels, even though you're further away from the mic, your levels are higher.
Oh.
So you know how to project.
Yeah.
And that's important too, not just in theater, but I think in any. Yeah. When you're communicating with people, if you have this soft little voices, you're not going to get your point across, right?
You got to find your voice.
So aside from UVic, what else? What else have you? What's Meg's? What's the big picture look like?
Oh, well, I went on an exchange to Japan.
I saw some of that. Yeah.
Yes. So, probably the best 2 weeks of my life. Definitely the best 2 weeks of my life. And so I'm really wanting to be an English teacher so I can teach English over there for a few years. Just because, I love it so much.
Just strictly to Japan, or would you look at other Asian or Southeast Asian countries? I
would probably look at others, but definitely Japan first. Just because, the culture is over there is so wonderful. And I'm also I've taken 2 years of Japanese. So I'm learning the language. So I'm looking for a chance to use it.
Go do it. I hope you do.
Yeah.
I hope you do. And I wonder, I would love to see traditional kabuki.
Oh my goodness.
Theater,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And see how that. I don't know. Japan is not totally on my bucket list, but I certainly wouldn't turn down a trip to Japan if it came up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Meg Peters,
yes.
I don't know why I want to take away the S for some reason. Winner of the best overall performance of the
Speech Arts and Drama Festival.
Oh, good, because I don't know why I have this mental block. I want to thank you for stopping by the Arts North studio. I'm going to see if I can lasso you into doing some I'll say volunteer work.
Yes.
Right? And then we can go from there. Thank you so much for coming by. And I'm so glad. I am so happy to see young people still getting involved in theater.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Special thanks to my friend Meg Peters, award-winning spoken word artist, off to university and bigger and better things, no doubt. Culture Confluence is an Arts North production produced at the Arts North Podcast Studio in cooperation with Studio 2880 and C4 Radio.